Hello guys, I spent 1 million naira setting up my office space. My name is Kenny Wonders. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this series, I'm going to be taking you on the breakdown on how I spent 1 million naira in setting up a mini office space. Recently, I moved into a new apartment and it occurred to me that I needed to set up a office space at my apartment because I do a lot of work sitting and I also do a lot of work on my laptop. So I just knew that I needed a space that would give me the right motivation to be able to do these things. There are many things I do that requires that I sit down or that I am on my laptop for a very long hour. So I'm going to be giving you a breakdown on the things I got in setting up my mini office space or my office space, anyone you want to call it. The first thing I had to get was definitely after paying for the rent of the apartment, I had to repaint the room. So I'm not going to be including the house rent in this list because I feel like that's like my house. So I'm not going to be including, I'm just going to be including the things I bought specifically for my office. So I think the first thing I did was to paint, like I said, and I didn't do so much of a painting because I plan leaving this place in less than a year. But I just did a little painting and just a white paint. In short, as a matter of fact, I was not planning to paint. It was one of my very good friends that came around, and when he saw the work going on, it was like, Kenny Wonders, you just have to paint this room, even if it's just a little paint of white or something. And I said, okay, no problem. So, and I spent about 27,000, 27,000 naira in painting the room. So the second thing on my list that I spent money on in setting up my space was a desk and an ergonomics chair. For the past 4 to 5 years, one problem I've had in my former apartment was the chair I was using. I'm going to show you somewhere here on the screen the kind of chair I was using before to do most of my work. And as a person in the health line, I know that was not good for me. I knew that this is not good for my spine. It is not good for my posture. And it was not also convenient for the work. It was not giving me the vibe, the ginger. You get? So I just knew I needed to get an ergonomics chair. But what they didn't tell me, God,
How do we hear of this?
what these people did not tell me is that to get something good is not for the weak. My goodness, I got to the place that I was supposed to get the chair, and when they first called the price, I said, "Sir,
Did you hear what I said? Like, are you seeing what I want to buy? You know, and that
hey, why? What's going on? Why that amount? But like they say, a very good soup is made with a lot of money. I spent 160,000 naira on just the chair. I actually had to price down to that amount because it was way more expensive than that. And this decks was 70,000 naira. Yeah. And I also got about two living room chairs that could accommodate maybe visitors or clients that come around. And I think I spent 50,000 for the two. It's just a small. I'm going to put up here the pictures. So I spent about 50,000 naira for the two of them together. That's 25,000 naira. So another thing I spent money on was to get a fan. My plan was to get an air conditioning machine, but I knew that it's going to cost. Aside costing a lot, the maintenance was not really that easy. Then the electrical supply to be able to power it was something I know that in Nigeria is not really. So I just knew I needed to go for an alternative. And the alternative I could go for was a mist fan. A mist fan. I know a lot of people have their bias about a mist fan, but so far so good. A mist rechargeable fan rather. But so far so good. I've been able to enjoy mine and it has been serving well. I've not had any issue with it. And it's not a bad idea to get a mist fan if you cannot afford an air conditioner. And the mist fan cost about And the mist fan cost about 170,000 naira. Yes, like the way I'm even calling this morning, I'm asking myself, like, what have you done to yourself? What have I done to myself? 170,000 naira. Come on, is it blowing the breeze of heaven? You know, but by the way, I just had to get it because I knew I needed something that could cool, because I'm in an environment where it is the order of the day. Like, it is second to the skin. Yeah. So I knew, and my person does not like it. That's me. Like, no matter how warm a place is, once I enter that place, I feel so much heat. So I would have to get something that can cool off my environment. So that's why I went for that. The next thing I had to get was a refrigerator. Just a mini, or should I call it a medium size, refrigerator. I won't put the picture because you don't need to see that. But I got a refrigerator. Of course, what's the essence of refrigerator? You all know why we should get a refrigerator. So, and I got that for about 230,000 naira. There were different types, but the one I went for was for that price. And I also spent a little money on some aesthetics. I know you can't see it here, but up here above me here, I got a wall clock, an aesthetic wall clock that cost me about 25,000 naira. I'm going to put the picture up there as well. I just knew that I needed a space where I could come in and love what I am seeing. I love artistic representations. I love a lot of beautiful things. I just love things being fine. I love fine things, fine humans, fine cars, fine food, fine anything. So I just knew I needed to get. When I saw it, I knew I needed to get it. Now, to the master of them all, I think this was the major part of expense that really took most of my money. And that was powering my office with a solar source. I believe one of the greatest investments anyone can make today is to get a stable electricity. Honestly, it increases your efficiency. Even in a country where you don't have a stable light, can disturb your plan, can distort your activity for the day. So and with the kind of work I do, with the kind of things I do, I knew I could not afford but to get a stable power supply. And I could have gone for a generator, but I knew that would have been a trap, because getting a generator, you have to get fuel, you have to manage and service the gen, and most of these engineers, that they can just touch something and your gen is gone. So I just knew I was not ready for that stress, so I had to go. And I spent. Now, there are different types of solar panels and solar batteries and the likes, but I went for something I could afford, and I went for something that could service what I needed it for. And I spent roughly around 500,000 naira. 500,000 naira. What are the lessons I've learned in this process of setting my space and getting these things? One of the major lessons I've learned on this journey of setting up my office space is that never work alone. I mean, like Liverpool have overemphasized that. So never work alone. And what do I mean by this? When I started this process, one of the things that I was doing was going about myself, getting these things. But one of my friends came around who owns a business. He's into a very successful business, and he's used to buying things. So unlike me, I'm a JGC in that I barely get things. So he came around and he was like, "Oh, Ken Wonders, you are setting up your space. Let's go around together. Let me help you out." And trust me, oh God, what? I mean, this guy, shout out to Phantom. He's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy. This guy literally was Jesus. His negotiating skill is off this world. Like, how will you price something from 200, something they called about 200,000 naira to 100,000? Right? Who negotiates like that? Well, Phantom does. So I just stood that day, and there were many other things I got that I didn't list here. Some gadgets, things like that. And this guy just came around and said, when they call the price, he says, "You are joking," and he calls his own price. And they'll be like, "Okay, bring the money." And we'll say, "No, that's not what he wants to pay. It's going lesser than that." And I'm like, "Guy, please, let's just leave it." African, for those that grew up in Nigeria, African parents, when your parents take you to the market and especially your mother, takes you to the market and they start pricing things. How you know how that share will swallow you up? You just feel like, God, can this earth just swallow me? Mom, like that was how I felt that day. The by and large of it is that it was able to help me get the best product and at a very affordable price. Probably I would have spent up to 2 million naira in setting up this office space, but with his help, in short, I began to regret other things I already got. I feel ashamed of myself right now, but just let me be. I began to regret other things I got, because I felt like if he had been there, some things would have been lesser than I purchased it. But by and large, if you plan doing anything, it's always good to reach out to people especially people who are in the business of doing that thing, or who are experts, who are professionals. Just even an idea from them can change everything. So that is one major lessons I learned on this journey of setting up my space. Now to the bigger question, was it worth it? I would say 100% it was worth it. It was worth it because, like I said, I do a lot of brain work. I love being on the decks for hours, just thinking, bringing up ideas, solution, then working on my system. I work for, I do a lot of work. I don't want to start mentioning. So I just knew that I needed an environment that was going to give me the motivation that I needed. And the best thing was to create that environment for myself. And there are even statistics and research that backs this up. Let me read from my system for you to I think a recent research shows that 10% improvement in PSC, which stands for Psychosocial Center. I'm sorry. Which stands for
You don't know why it's going on.
Which stands for psychosocial climate, is associated with a 4.5 decrease in burnout and a 6% increase in employee engagement. So these are research that have been carried out. There's another one that says workspace rich in aesthetic appeal can boost employee morale by up to 32%. 32. So these are research. I'm going to put the link for this research, I'm going to put the link below so that you can go ahead to study the research as well. But these are research that have been done to show and to prove that having a comfortable environment increases the productivity of that individual. And I knew I needed to do this for myself. Beyond productivity, also for my health, because having a very good, comfortable chair is something that my spine, my back is going to appreciate me for forever. If my spine would speak, right now it's just going to be shouting, Kenny, I love it. I love you, because I'm giving it the best it could ever get. So these are the things that I'm really grateful for that I was able to do, and I really desire that everyone would take their space serious. And there's something that I also want to say is that you can start anywhere. You don't have to start with 1 million naira. You can start with 10,000 naira to set up your space. Just make your space comfortable for you, so that when you come into that environment, when you see how easy it is to do what you need to do, you will be motivated to go ahead to do the necessary things. So invest in your comfort, get aesthetics around you, and give yourself something that you will be proud of. Personally, I believe one of the greatest investments you can ever make is in yourself. And investing in a comfortable space is not luxury, but a necessity for your personal development. All right, well, I've come to the end of this episode. If you stayed till the very end, you are the real G. Do you think my 1 million naira was spent well? And let me know in the comments what the most ridiculous thing you've ever spent money on. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Let's keep having fun and learning together. See you in my next video. Bye.